the hard part about when you stop doing the little things that make you who you were is you don't have this like drastic drop off in performance. It's not like, holy crap, who are you? You look like a baby deer. It's not like that. you know?
You are now listening to the highlight reel builder for authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, best-selling author of the book Stay the Course, and Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some tips and techniques to advance yourself up next. Today's podcast review highlight goes to Susan3950. Her 5-star review is titled Fun and Heartwarming. Dom was a joy to have as a podcast host. He is welcoming, positive, and asks great questions. I was blessed to be a guest on his show. And folks who guest on this show are definitely blessed by you that is listening right now to this podcast. If you want your review featured on an upcoming episode of the Going North podcast, be sure to leave one via the website goingnorthpodcast.com. Now let's get on to the episode. And today on the highlight reel builder for authors known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, it's the Going North podcast. We got another super special, awesome human for you today, courtesy of past guest, the wonderful CJ, my homie CJ, not from San Andreas, but from Texas, Chaz Jackson himself, Mr. GNG King himself, baby, because we got another wonderful, super special, awesome human in the building. He's a fellow bookcaster, y'all. That's right. So a man has a podcast, and he's published at least one book in particular. So a man's got a whole bunch of content, and on top of that, he's a father, a husband, as well as an All-American, baby, a former All-American, Division I, you heard that right, folks, not Division III, baby, Division I baseball player and a coach to hundreds, soon to be thousands of up-and-coming athletes. Let's give it up for Mr. CS himself, Mr. Charles Schultz. How you doing today, Charles?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Thank you for that introduction. That's awesome. Loving the energy. Let's do this.
Yes, indeed, the Mount Dew, indeed. And as with all introductions, they're not allowed to be 75 days long, and I probably forgot 74 days, so mind filling us in on your backstory since it's your first time on the show?
Yeah, I grew up in sports. That was my life. It was really important for me to succeed in sports, so I was drawn to the greatness side of things and how elite athletes became who they were. And a big part of my journey was learning what it meant to put in the work to be great. And since I finished my my playing days, and so a lot of my journey now is continuing on that path of understanding what makes elite performers elite and how do we get the most out of our abilities.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's right, indeed. The big E, baby. That's right, the big E for elite. That's right, indeed. So my goodness, so basically doing all those studies of how elite performers are doing, I guess we're similar paths on that front of studying elite performers, man. So like what are like the 3 major keys you notice that all elite performers share, my man?
So I think there's a lot of journeys to elite, and that's the interesting part. But one of the things I'm really working with right now that I found this last year to be very informative for myself is I believe the first thing that people need to understand when it comes to being great, to getting to elite, is it's a skill. And just like anything else, when you start to learn a skill, when you're trying something out, you're not very good at it. So we don't come out great. Like we're born with great potential, but we have to learn how to apply that potential to become great. And so that skill process is where a lot of people get lost. And that's one of the big pieces for me this year is how do we learn the skills that allow us to be great? And then from that, it's quality habits. It's doing the little things and the compound efforts. You know, it's the daily things we do that allow us to build upon the successes we've had. And that's a big part of the new journey for me is how can I create small daily wins? How can I compound my efforts? How can I grow each and every opportunity that I have and use the past experiences for the next experience? And then from there, it's knowing why. Why do we do the things we do? Because no matter what journey you're on, no matter what type of greatness you're trying to achieve, you're going to face adversity. You're going to face hard times. You're going to have difficult moments. And if you don't understand why you're doing the things you're doing, that's when you stop. That's when you quit. That's when you don't keep going. But if you have a good why and you understand those pieces, then you lean in harder when the stuff gets tough. And I think that's the big piece where if you can put those three things together, if you can understand it's a skill and you're not going to be good right away, if you can compound your efforts over time, and then you can lean in when it gets hard, you can get anywhere you want to go.
Oh, that's right indeed. My man's dropping that heat, baby. That's right indeed. Might as well call him Charles Heat Schultz, baby. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Bringing that heat. 'Cause yeah, man, those daily habits, getting those daily wins and making sure the past experience is good for the next experience. My man's been dropping gems already. Ain't even been 5 minutes of the conversation yet. My man's already dropping some jewels from the jewelry store, indeed, man. So, man, like with all of those gems that you've picked up over time, like how has it really improved your life in these ways now where you get to actually coach up and coming athletes with you having the athletic background yourself?
For myself personally, the biggest thing that it's had, it's allowed me to stop comparing where I'm at with everyone else. Everyone's journey is different. Everyone's success is different. The pace of success is different. And early in my playing career, I was like, that guy's good. I want to be better. Well, I can't control that. I can work real hard. That's great. But if he works real hard and I work real hard and he's already ahead of me, he's going to stay ahead of me. Stop worrying about trying to catch somebody and just be the best you can be. And so that helped me a lot. Is greatness isn't the accolades. It's your personal challenges against yourself over time to be the best you can be. Now, if you're the best you can be, there's a good chance you're going to be really, really good compared to other people. And that's great. But if you worry about being compared to other people, you won't get there. When it comes to helping the athletes I work with, one of the really cool things is I become really good at accepting the fact that I made a ton of mistakes, and I am very open and honest about those with my athletes to hopefully help them understand they don't have to make the same ones. They can learn through my failures and then hopefully cut some corners on the process to get to their success a little quicker. And that's one of the big things that I've really been trying to work with for myself when it comes to applying the new knowledge that I'm gaining, applying the skills that I'm learning, and paying it forward.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Definitely got to pay it forward, indeed, especially in the particular spot you are now where you actually get to help future athletes be like, hey, these folks are going to probably surpass me one day 10 times over, man. Like, how does that feel, man, to be able to know it's like, man, I was able to become all American, but it's like, dude, they might actually get to the freaking big leagues, man, like NBA, the MLB. Like, how's it feel, man?
Well, I got a really good opportunity to continue to play after his college career is over. And there's nothing better than to watch him grow. And the coolest thing about this young man is he's a better person than he is a football player. And I attribute that to his amazing family. I attribute that to the fact that he's had some really successful coaches, not myself, others. And he's an open-minded learner all the time. And those types of people are the ones you want leading the future charge of things. And I think he's going to do special things, whether it's on a football field or in a classroom or standing in front of people speaking. He's got some incredible talents, and it's really cool to see when people like that accept what you're trying to give them and that you see them actively trying to apply it to their life. You know, that those are the things for me that really, more than the on the field accolades, and I've had some really good athletes do some really big things. Sports end. You know, they don't last forever. What you do after sports, in my opinion, is going to make a bigger impact on the world than what you will ever do on a field. And so the things I'm trying to teach, the things I'm trying to give, I want those to be beyond sports. I want those to be more than just the things that you learn to play the game. I want them to be what you do after you're done and how you impact lives. And those are the cool things for me.
Heck yeah, man. That's right, indeed. Like, I can't believe I think you're the first person I heard it from, like sports, and it's like it reminds me of that wonderful technique. A lot of folks in the personal development space be like, "Hey, yes, and it's like, hey, sports and this." It's like, hey, sports is great. It's phenomenal. It's great, especially if you're able to make it to the top of the world in sports. But that's not going to be forever. Even Even Serena Williams had to retire. She's going to be retiring soon. Like, she can't play until she's 60. I mean, she could try, but I doubt she's
Right.
going to do it and be at the level that she has been in the past. So, like, you got to be able to have something in addition to what you're doing, man. So, like, that's really solid, man. You're just focusing on helping folks to have that holistic view.
Yeah, no, I think that's the key is the oldest players in the NFL are what? You had a guy, what, 41, 44 with Brady. I mean,
Yeah.
even when he's done, he's got what, 30 more years of life probably, right?
Yeah.
So that's a long time. That's a lot of days to do more good. And if once you're done playing, and he's an outlier. Most people are done playing by the time they're 28.
Yeah.
If you make it pro, you're done by 28. You're 3 and gone. See you later. Now what? That's not even a quarter of your life. Go do some things. Take the skills you learned, take the things you picked up, and give to something else. Because the really cool thing about sports is it teaches you a lot of the skills that you can use to become great at other things. Because you learn how to do meaningful practice. You learn how to compete. You learn how to overcome failure. You learn about adversity, how to handle the things you can't control. You're going to have bad calls if you play sports. You're going to have to learn to deal with those things. Just like if you make a perfect pitch at a board meeting and they go with the other guys, you can't control that. You did your best. That guy got chosen, sorry, but that doesn't take away from your performance. But if you've never learned how to handle that moment, then you may never perform the same again. And that's the scary side, is that too many people, when they don't win the first time, don't know how to come back and compete the second time. And I think that's where sports makes a huge impact for us, is we learn how to consistently and continuously compete.
Amen to that, man. And so many valid points, man, you brought up there, especially with the aspect of competing and coming back after loss. Because you're so right. It's like there's so many things outside of our control, and we got to focus on what we can control, like that deal, that big project. It's like, hey, you may think it's the best thing in the world, but or if you're like competing for that job, you like have the best resume ever, and they choose the other person because they like them better, then really can't really control that. It's so darn true. We just have to get back up from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean that's the hardest thing for I think a lot of people to understand, especially these days. There's this need, in my opinion, to always be first, to always get the big job, to always be the top dog. And there's this lack of wanting to earn those progresses. I have some athletes who come in and they're like, I should be starting. I go, why? Like, tell me why. Like, because if you start, somebody's not.
Exactly.
So, what do you do better than that person? Like, did you earn the right to start, or do you just feel like you are entitled to start? Are you going to earn a pay raise, or are you just going to ask for one? Like, I've had a kid come in and say, if they pay me more, I'll work more. I go, that's not how it works. Be so good that they want to pay you more.
Exactly.
And we have it backwards now. And you know, a lot of it could be just, I don't know, maybe we're just forgetting how to raise tough kids. I don't know. Maybe we're not teaching it in school, that because when you fail a test, you can go retake it or, you know, correct your answers and get half the points. No, you failed. Sorry. Better luck next time. Study more. You knew it was coming. It wasn't like, surprise, test day. Like, that's not how it works. So be ready. It's your job. That's your job right now. You're an athlete and a student athlete. Be ready. And so I think a lot of that is my biggest problem with this, is that these are all things we can control. You may not control if you get all the answers right, but you can control if you're ready. If you go and show up prepared, and you can control how hard you work. Those are all, you know, it's just a challenging piece right now.
Damn, my man's coming in with the fire, baby. That's right. You can't control the airs, but you control if you're ready. That's right, indeed. Got to control that readiness, baby. That's right, indeed. Got to control that readiness. That's right. Be in that state of readiness, indeed. Heck, that's probably the R in great, isn't it?
I like that. Or resilience. Either that. Readiness or resilience. Those two work.
That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, man, I heard you finally joined the business of immortality and published your first book along with a bunch of other merch, man. So, what made you decide to finally join the business of immortality, my man?
So I find it really interesting as we progress through life. You know, I'm closing in on 40, and what I've noticed is that when we're young, we think we know everything and we're loud about it, right? Then we get older and we actually learn a few things, but we get quiet.
Yeah.
And then we get a little older and a little wiser, and we're like, you know what? You guys don't know what you're saying. I've got a little bit of life experience. Let me share that with you. And I feel like I'm at that point now where I'm past the quiet stage of learning. I'm not done learning, obviously, but I'm past the stage of just absorbing everything and being quiet, even though I might have known a few things. And I want to share some of my experiences to help the loud crowd. But no, I mean, in all fairness, is that as I've gotten older, I look back on my life a lot more. I reflect a lot more, and I felt like it was time to go deeper on some of the past experiences that I've had and see how they might relate to the next generation coming up and how I can help them take that next step towards their greatness.
Amen, man. You're definitely right about that. It's like, yeah, yep. Fun enough. I remember right after getting my IT degree, talking to a colleague, older colleague. It's like, yeah, I got my IT degree. I'm gonna get my certifications and then be promoted. Then I'll make an escape. And she's like, don't think it'll be that easy. And dang gummit, she was right. It was a few months in, first certification. Didn't get it the first time, was 100 points off. And then was about to take it again. Got promoted full time at the job at the library. So it was like, oh, well, I guess I got what I wanted. So, like, misdirection is for real.
Oh yeah,
Life
for
wins.
sure, for sure.
Yes, indeed. Would have paid you for like 35, not freaking 40, man.
Yeah, no, next year is big 4-0.
There we go. That's right, indeed. Or 04 for the dyslexic folks. Be like, yeah, biggest 4-year-old you ever seen, baby. It's not so bad. Oh, well, the aging folks usually like it. They're like, yeah, I am 26. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. We're just gonna once we get to a certain halfway through, we just flip it around.
Exactly. Just flip it all around. It's perfect. It's perfectly fine. So, my goodness, you got this wonderful podcast called The Edge of Greatness, man. So, my goodness, what led you to discover the name? Was it like a Nike shoe discovery, like a Greek statue popped in your head in the middle of the night? It's like, you know what? That's what's going to be the name.
No, it's actually kind of funny. It happened because I failed. I found this topic, and I'm a big believer that failure is a key component to your success. So I initially was planning on starting a clothing brand and figuring some things out with a brand name, Fail Forward. I was excited about this idea that, we should all fail forward. We should use our failures to grow. And so I started putting some things together, and then I looked, and there was this like inactive company in Florida that had the name Fail Forward, but it was their name, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna compete with that. That's not something that I want to mess with, because if for some reason I end up having success and this guy goes, it's my name, I want your success, I'm not going to go down
Yeah.
that road. So I played around with why I liked the idea of Fail Forward, and it kind of came back to this understanding that, well, I'm on this path to try to achieve the best version of myself I can. So how do we get there? Well, we got to be great. We want to go after these things that challenge us to grow. And then I thought about the idea of from Tim Kite, where he talks about where we grow on the edge. That's where we get uncomfortable, we stretch ourselves past our talent, and now we have to rely on our ability to grow and learn through failures. And so Edge of Greatness kind of came to me about this idea of we're always climbing, we're always close. We're never quite great, because those who are really truly after greatness are never satisfied with where they're at. They always want a little bit more. So we're always right there. It's just within reach. But each time you take a step, it moves a step. Each time you get a little bit closer, it moves a little further. And so the Edge of Greatness felt like the right path for me, because I don't think we ever get greatness. We get close. But the closer we get, the more we want, and the more we want, the greater we become.
Amen to that, man. Yeah, because I heard the backstory behind it on Chad's show. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, Because fail forward is like it's a great thing, but it's like it's somewhat corny, at least to me anyway. Because like I've heard it so many times, but it's like edge of greatness. It's like, yeah, that sounds a lot cool. It's like the EOG baby, we got you.
Yeah, no, it's awesome too because it happened because of a failure. And I think that's the really cool part about it is that a lot of failure gets looked at as a permanent situation, and a lot of people then give up when they fail. And I've always had the mindset if I failed at something, then I'm close to succeeding at something else. I'm putting myself in a position to do something I don't know what the outcome's going to be, which means I'm going to get better because of this moment. Whether I get it right or get it wrong, I'm getting better because I'm pushing myself to that edge, to that limit, to what I'm capable of.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, since we're on the topic of failure, what would you consider one of your biggest life failures that actually was a setup for your future success?
You know, it's hard because I've had a lot, and that's the thing about I think anybody who is out there trying stuff, you're going to have failures. I bet if you went back and listened to my first podcast episode, that was a pretty big failure, at least compared to where I'm at now. But no, if I was going to go and pinpoint a failure that I think is a really cool turning point in my life, it's probably the failure that I didn't end up going pro. You know, you mentioned I was an All-American. I had a really good first year of college. I was on the path to being somebody who had an opportunity to play after things didn't really go my way, mostly because I lost sight of the little things that made me who I was as a freshman, and I didn't do them as well. I enjoyed college more. I didn't focus on the details. I didn't do the compound daily efforts. I didn't accept that I still had more to learn and more to grow, and I was okay with being good enough. And it didn't, the hard part about when you stop doing the little things that make you who you were is you don't have this like drastic drop off in performance. It's not like, holy crap, who are you? You look like a baby deer. It's not like that. You know, you don't go from being an elite athlete to not being able to walk. So it was small stuff. My batting average dropped by a few points. I wasn't quite as fast or explosive. I wasn't as consistent in my approach. There were just little things that over the course of the next 2 years didn't get any better. I don't think I got worse, but I didn't grow the same way that I was going to grow had I continued to work the way I did. And so by the time my career ended, I had a really good college career, but it wasn't good enough to be a pro. And so that failure led me down a new path, which ultimately led me to where I'm at now. So at the end of the day, again, the things that happen to us open other doors. You know, I like to think of it this way is that, you know how if you're in like a room and there's like some cracks in the doors, they're not all the way shut, and you slam a door and another one opens? It's like that. So the pressure from one door shutting opens something. You just got to look for it.
There you go. That's right, indeed. So that's where you got to be heavy-footed then. That's right. Kick that door in, baby.
That's right. Bust them down.
That's right, indeed. Shut that mess so hard, you open another one. It's like, oh, dang it, they're still getting in. Like, dang it. Oh, man. So, my goodness, man, you've been on a bunch of podcast interviews as a guest, and you host your own, and you go to over 100+ episodes in and still going all the way to the top like some cream. So, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on the guest side of the game?
Oh, man, that's a good one. I like that. That's the first time I think I've ever been asked a question that I would like to be asked on the guest side. I don't know. It's for me, I think the art of a conversation is the follow-up. And so the really good podcasts I've been on have been people who take the stories or the lessons I'm saying and then ask for more or find a little piece in there that intrigues them and then tell me about this. And so honestly, I really have enjoyed how you've taken little bits and then directed it towards expanding the conversation. And so those types of things for me are the ultimate I don't know what the best way to say this is it makes you feel most welcome when somebody takes what you said and asks for more because you know they're engaged in listening. And as a guest, it's not necessarily about the questions that are asked, but it's, am I being heard? And so those types of questions for me makes me feel welcomed on the show, makes me feel appreciated to be there, and it makes me want to continue to tune in and come back.
Oh, yeah, that's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So, my goodness, well, fun question. Since diet's a part of performance, if your book was a food, what would it be and why?
Oh, it'd be a reverse sear steak for sure. Because there's nothing better. Let's go.
Yes, indeed. So, for those who don't know what a reverse seared steak is, mind telling us a bit about it?
Oh
The
yeah, yeah.
process.
You fire up the smoker, you get it at about 220 high smoke. You throw it in there, heat it up to about 115 because I like my medium rare. Then you fire up the Blackstone to sear. Smack that bad boy on there for about 3 minutes aside. You get a nice little crispy outside, nice, very tender middle, and the juices get trapped in, and there's nothing better. I bet you're hungry now, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, I saw that Twitter post today on your profile. I'm like, damn, that looks good steak. I'm like, the vegans are mad, but F it. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And the first for the podcast. Folks have said steak before, but nah, it ain't. This is reverse seared, baby.
Oh yeah,
It's
you
a
gotta be done
whole.
that right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that elite cook right there, baby. That's right, indeed. That's that elite cook steak right there. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Some say 5-star, nah, fam. That's that 7-star right there. That's right.
If you're gonna do it great.
Woohoo, that's what I'm talking about. So, my goodness, coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're still in 2022, what advice would you give to yourself?
Don't try to get there tomorrow. There's no timeline to the success you're chasing. As long as you are consistently doing the work that's necessary and taking small steps towards where you want to be, then you're doing it right. And the hardest part about any journey that requires effort is at some point you're going to have to go off on your own and write the map yourself. You can't follow somebody else's map to a destination that nobody's ever been. It'll be great. Do it to a certain point by following how others have gotten there, but then don't be afraid to draw the map yourself and make things happen.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's right. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. My man's been bringing the heat all episode, indeed, baby. That's right. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's why it's important for folks to sometimes write books of their own. It's like, hey, there's some key principles that are foundational throughout success. Books and people have it, but hey, like, that ain't the same map. Sometimes there's a little mix, a little match of certain things where it's like, nah, this ain't me, but this is me right here. It's like, all right, now I really got the map. Now I can finally leave some breadcrumbs behind for somebody else for real now.
That's what it's about right there. And I think that's what's great about writing, like you said, is you can take principles from other stories, you can take principles from other books, but what's your fingerprint when it comes down to it? How do you leave your mark on that work? What's the difference maker that you see that nobody else does? And I think that's the fun part about the writing process. I really enjoy the writing process. I've actually finished a rough draft that hopefully will be out at the end of the year. It's a different style of book than this last one. But it's how can we take stories that have been told and put your fingerprint on it? Make it unique, give it your voice, make it special.
Oh, that's right. Make it special indeed. Make it special indeed. Well, I know a special thing that folks need to do is following all your profiles and keep up with your journey and all the good stuff. So, for folks need to do just that, what's the best way for folks to do so, my man?
You can find everything about me at my website. If you are an active person on social media, I'm probably most active on Twitter, and that's at Coach_Schultz. I do have a little bit of an Instagram presence that I'm trying to do better with. It's something that's kind of coming together, and that's the Edge of Greatness Project. So, but if you're looking to connect with me, the edgeofgreatnessproject.com. Send me an email. I'd love to talk. I love these types of situations where we get to know some people and get to chat and tell our stories. So I'm always open for something like that.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. The Edge of Greatness, baby. The EOG, baby. That's right. It's holding it down. So follow him on the Twitters, y'all. That's right, indeed. That means he's on one of the good parts of Twitter, y'all. That's right. They may think Twitter's a dumpster fire, but nah, man. It ain't no dumpster fire. It's got to go to the right parts of Twitter. And my man's in the right part of Twitter, indeed. And follow him on IG, too. Keep on the lookout for all of his good stuff. Indeed, and buy some copies of his magical books and some merch too. Man's got hats and shirts too, so man's got you covered like a blanket. Beck, actually, he's got you covered like a t-shirt, literally. That's right, indeed. So for the Sunday party words before I close up shop, my man.
Nah, the best thing I always say, this is how I always sign off my podcast. Keep reaching for the stars, fall flat on your face, but remember, whenever we fall, always get up.
Thanks a bunch for tuning in and setting aside some of your time to listen to this wonderful podcast going north. If you really enjoyed what you heard, do me a solid and share this with your network and someone that you care about that would get something out of it too. And be sure to subscribe to hear more, and heck, even check out the backlog if you would like, because there are hundreds of episodes to choose from, and they just keep getting better and not butter.